Okay, we're live. I'm late. Yes, that's true. But we are live. Okay. So happy Friday, everybody. It's one of those things when you're a parent of a first grader, you get calls from the principal sometimes. So, yeah, I am a little bit late. I'm a little bit sorry, but I'm not a lot late and I'm not a lot sorry. Okay, so happy weekend. Today we're talking about a couple items of streaming news. We got the new Chromecast that's come out. We're going to be talking about Pluto TV's expansion, their move to dominate the universe. We're going to be talking potentially, if we get to it, we're going to be talking about pirating streaming shows. Okay, I'm sure I don't have any opinions on that, right, everybody? Right. So yeah, we're gonna be going over that stuff. Let's get some mood lighting going though before we really get going. Um, that's right. Greg is neither late nor early. He arrives precisely when he means to. Yes, absolutely. There. Oh, hey, there's our mood lighting. The other one's stuck on the other side of the room. So here's what we're gonna do. Okay. Yeah, we'll just whatever. Okay, we're going purple today. In this regularly messy studio. So, hello Frayden, hello Andy, Socrates, Sylvia, Mel, Michael, John, Wayne, Kazi, everybody. I'm gonna miss people, so I won't try to get everybody. Thomas, Baba, Arcelia. Okay, hopefully I got most of you. Welcome, happy Friday. Let's talk some streaming news. Let's see. What do we want to talk about first? Should we talk about the new Chromecast? I think maybe we talk about the new Chromecast. What do you think? Let's pull this up. Okay, so I'm just gonna share my screen here. Now the headline is really, it's not that complicated. What I'm really curious about is your opinions on the Chromecast. It's 2 years old now. I still call it the new Chromecast because I was so used to the old version of the Chromecast. But I'm curious what you think of it and what you think about the news of the new one coming in. So let me share my screen and show you what I'm talking about. This is what I get for being late, you guys. I'm a little flustered, as you can see. My daughter's in first grade. Got a call from the principal. Hey, this thing happened. It wasn't something that she did. It was something that was done to her by another student, and the principal just wanted to let us know. And so it's like, okay, yeah, all right. Kids be kids, you know. Let's see. All right. But that being said, yeah, I'm feeling just a little flustered at the moment because I had to hurry back out here to get going with the stream. All right, now we can add this to our stream. All right, Google now offers a cheaper 1080p version of the Chromecast with Google TV. All right, we're going to hide that. Okay, Google has unveiled the Chromecast with Google TV HD device. Okay, so, oops. So that's the headline. Now, really, like I said, there's not a lot to it. You can see how short this article is. It's not that there's a ton to it. The new device looks nigh on identical. Okay, with the oval shape, the short HDMI cable, and the USB-C input. So if we're looking at this version of it, it's if you've never seen it before, it's kind of a dongle thing before. This is the HDMI connector that you plug into your TV. It hangs down like this. I left the cord plugged into the wall over there, but the cord plugs in via USB-C. And you can do some stuff with that. You know, you can get a splitter and expand the storage and that sort of thing. But that's the entire device. And then the remote. The remote that, I haven't used this device in a little while, and I gotta say, as I picked up the remote this morning, I was reminded just how much I love it. It's a really great remote. So they say it looks identical. The difference is, and let's make that bigger again. The difference is right there in the name, lower 1080p resolution, albeit with HDR support. So basically, the one that I have, it's 4K. It does Dolby Atmos, Dolby Vision, all the bells and whistles, but it's $50. and they are releasing a non 4K model for $30. So let me know your thoughts on this. Tell me your thoughts on the idea of a new Chromecast with Google TV. If it's something that, do you like the device? Would you consider getting a different version of it? Okay, so I'm curious what y'all think. Let's see. Even the 4K sucks, says Flynn Hire. I disagree highly. I've always loved this device. With the exception of the storage capacity. That's the only thing that I really dislike about it. It kind of depends on your style. So if you are somebody who enjoys an app forward interface, then you prefer something like the Roku, right? That just puts your apps right up front. In the case of the Chromecast, it's more of a content forward interface. They try to curate content for you and make that as easy as possible for you to find something to watch. So anyway, that's the idea behind it, and I've always really liked it. Serious question: how popular is the Chromecast? Fire and Roku seem to dominate the conversation. It's a good point. It's not. It doesn't make the same headlines. But Chromecast, even before this iteration, even Chromecast was always kind of that sleeper hit. And I suspect that this move, offering a cheaper 1080p version, is trying to get back to that, because the reason that the Chromecast was always kind of a sleeper hit was because it was cheap. And it was simple. You could just operate it from your phone. And the thing is, with the new one, and with that new one, you can still do that. This can still operate just like your old Chromecast. You can still do screen casting just like you used to. But I think that, man, my screen, whatever, my camera is like picking up a lot of shine, isn't it? But that's why the old Chromecast was so popular. It never really made waves, didn't make a lot of news. It did get a little bit complicated with how many versions and what the price was and all that stuff. And so that's why I think they wanted to simplify. But now they're seeing that, yeah, they may have oversimplified because people don't have a cheaper budget version of the device. So I think that's I'm not in on their board meetings, but if I were to guess, that would be something along the lines of why they wanted to do that, is to get it a little bit back to its popularity, its previous popularity. What was the name of the purple guy from McDonald's? I do not remember. I know who you're talking about, but sorry, it's outside my purview. I don't remember. Good question though. Let's see. It's like Coke versus Pepsi, and Chromecast is the RC Cola in this scenario. Maybe. It's not a terrible analogy. The only thing is that just because two things dominate the conversation that you participate in doesn't mean that it's not popular, doesn't mean it's not worthwhile, doesn't mean that we, shouldn't be glad it's on the shelves. Because you think about like how cheap RC Cola is, and always has been, compared to the other two. And it's not like Coca-Cola is expensive, but compared to RC Cola, sure, yeah, it's pricey. But for those who don't operate on the same budget as you, so for people who, whether it's for budgetary reasons like that, or maybe it's just for the simple reason of they prefer this third brand. They've grown accustomed to it for whatever reason. So in that way, it's not a terrible analogy. It's kind of a good way. It's a good reminder to say, like, just because I'm always using Roku, just because I'm always using Fire Stick or my Apple TV, doesn't mean that the Chromecast isn't valuable and that other people shouldn't find it valuable, right? In another way, it's not a great analogy because, frankly, the Chromecast is a great device. It may conversationally fit in that RC Cola slot, but as a practical matter, it's actually I'd say at least as good as a Fire Stick, at least as good as a Roku. It's just a matter of taste, just a matter of what you want. All right. Okay. I don't know why they came out with a 1080p one. I have two 4K Chromecasts with Google TV. I definitely enjoy my Chromecast. Well, I mean, we're kind of talking, that's what we're trying to get into. Why would they do this? Well, because each one of these is $50. You can find them on sale every once in a while, 40, 45 bucks, whatever. But this is not a budget streaming device. So you think about, I don't have any here on my desk. I mean, I've got remotes all over the place, but the devices are back over by the TV. Think about Roku for a second. You got the Roku Ultra. Okay, you don't necessarily need that, but if you get it, it's between usually 80 and 100 bucks, depending on what sales are going on at the moment. Okay, so that's a pretty expensive streaming device, right? It's not Apple TV, it's not the NVIDIA Shield, but it's a pretty expensive device. Okay, so you've got their high end, the Roku Ultra. Then you've got the streaming stick plus for 4K plus, whatever. And you work your way on down the line. So you've got the sticks that are anywhere from $50 down to say $35 or something like that. Then you get all the way down to the Roku Express. You've got the Roku Express 4K, yes, but if you go with the base model, the MSRP, the manufacturer's suggested retail price on that is $30, but it usually goes for like 20, 25, right? So with Roku, you've got all these different tiers depending on what your needs are, depending on what your wants are, what you're asking from your device. Same thing with Fire Stick. Fire Stick goes from the Cube all the way on down the line. Not everybody does this. Apple TV is like, hey, either you're rich or you don't get to watch on an Apple TV. And a little exaggeration, but not much of one. Okay, so not everybody does it. But Chromecast, it has been in that category. It's like, hey, got $50? You can use a Chromecast. Don't have $50? Too bad. And why shouldn't they join the ranks of those who offer choice based on budget, right? And based on needs. So I think that's why they're going with it. All right. Let's see. Never used a Chromecast, says Frayden, yet, but know a few friends who have it and love it. Yeah. Have you? Let's see. Never used it. Go check it out at your friend's house. Ask them if you can play around with it. It's really great, especially the remote. I mean, I'm telling you, once you get, it's different. It's small, right? It fits. It's not long, right? But the shape on the back of it, I like the wheel it's not really a wheel at the top, but I like the circle at the top, the D-pad, the voice search, the programmable buttons. Yeah, I really, really like the remote. I think you would dig it. All right. I love going backwards with technology, says Kirk. Makes so much sense. We're not going backwards. You may have a 4K TV, but not everybody does. So somebody who's got their, they've got their 1080p plasma TV from 15 years ago, and they're like, hey, this thing looks great. I'm not getting rid of this unless I absolutely have to. Well, they don't need a 4K device, right? So it's not that we're going backwards with technology. It's that we're offering an option for people not to have to jump forward at the same time as everybody else, right? I would love it if somebody could get my classic NES to work reliably on my TV. But, they have to come out with these new devices, the NES Classic or NES Mini or whatever they call it. These devices that come out that kind of mimic the old devices and whatnot. Like, sometimes older technology, pretty great, right? All right, let's see. What else? With 4K now the norm, says Scott, is 1080p going backwards? Technically, yes. I mean, we kind of just went over this, but technically, yes. But some people never actually went forward. 4K may now be the norm, but let's say you've got a few TVs in your house and they're all 4K. Just think for a moment outside the walls of your home. Do you think everybody has a bunch of 4K TVs? No. No. A lot of people still have smaller TVs, older TVs, whatever. They don't want to fork out for the 4K for whatever reason. And so having excellent streaming devices available for those folks, I think, is really important and really valuable. Okay. Okay, now we're talking. Jay says, I have Roku and don't know what to think other than what you say about it. I choose to believe that you're talking about all of my opinions, and not just my opinion on this. I love the phrasing here. So this is a lot of responsibility for me, Jay. Okay, and I take it seriously, but don't worry, I'm always right. Right. Okay. Yeah, I'm always right. All right, so who else we got around here? What kind of speed does the cheap one do? If it's snappy enough, I'm in. Okay, so let me close that out. Let me see if I can. Oh, oops, wrong button. Oh, come on. Okay. Let's look it up. All right, we've got its page on Amazon. All right, so we're gonna take a look. We got the Amazon page here. So we got the 4K version, still goes for $48. The HD version, HD version at $29.99. So let's see what they've got to say about this, because that's a good question. What kind of speed does this have? Oh, let's go straight to the source. So sometimes they put it up here. Sometimes we'll have to scroll down a little bit. Okay, up to 1080p HDR, blah, 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 blah. Google Assistant on the remote, easy to install. Yeah, sure. Okay, all right. Yeah, they're not going to give us tech specs there. Let's see if they do it down here. Because I haven't had a chance to look into all of the ins and outs of the new version. So I don't have the tech specs for you. But let's see if they have it for us down here. It's one of those things, I will almost certainly order one of these, give it a shot, compare it to the 4K version, and tell you what the tech specs, feel like. We can read about them, but we may want to look at what they actually do in practice. Okay, so yeah, they're not really going to give us much info here. Sorry. So as far as I know, from everything I have read, okay, so like I said, I haven't dug into every single thing about this, but from everything I have read, it's essentially identical on the inside, except for a few of the capabilities as far as video. The 1080p, the lack of Dolby, that sort of thing. Okay, so yeah, as far as we know, it's identical. See, they don't have any. Yeah, they don't usually do tech specs like that for everybody. Excuse me, just because most people don't care. But it's a good question. We'll look more into it. Okay, Joe. Grimace. That's right, Grimace was the purple guy from McDonald's. So for anybody who's just joining, somebody asked who the purple guy from McDonald's was. Maybe inspired by the light behind me, but apparently that's it. See, Mel likes RC Cola, and you know what? It's one of those things. Like if you go to a barbecue, somebody's put RC Cola in the in the cooler. And it's that or nothing. Like, we're all gonna drink the RC Cola. It's fine. Let's not get down on RC Cola. Okay. Let's see. So Flinthire says they reduced all the specs. Okay, yeah. We're gonna be looking more into that. So I'm curious. I'm curious about your problems with crashing and all that. It's something that I know I did have a problem with when it first came out. It was like it came out and it worked fine, and then one of the updates had it crashing quite a bit, and then later on, a future update fixed most of that for me, and I didn't really have much of an issue with crashing going forward. Now, granted, it has been a couple of months since I've used this, but I'm curious when the last time was you used it, because that does often have to do with the software, and they fix that from my experience. But maybe you have some more recent experience. All right. Would you think this is to... Oh, here, let's go back so that people can, again, know what we're talking about. Yep, there we go. Would you think this is to outsell the Walmart low-cost streaming device and get into that demographic? I mean, that's what that's what all the budget devices are about, right? The Fire Stick HD, the Roku Express. They're all looking for that market. They all want to serve that market, and they should. I think they should. So yeah, it's a good point. Yeah, there are other devices out there that cater to that market, and this will be one more. Let's see. I got the fire cubes. Sounds like a disease of some kind. I got the fire cubes. All right. Let's see, but a 4K device will still work on their TVs. Okay, so I'm going back through some older comments. I think you're talking about when I said not everybody has a 4K TV. A lot of people still have 1080p TVs. That's true. A 4K device can downscale to their 1080p TV. Not always, perfectly, but yeah, as a general rule, totally fine, not an issue. But think about it this way: you're paying $50 for a device that can do $50 worth of stuff, but you only need $30 worth of stuff, right? So you're paying $20 for features you'll never use. And I think this goes a lot for the rest of us as well. A lot of us, we think, oh, I want the shiniest version. I'm going to get the Fire Cube. I'm going to get the Roku Ultra. I'm going to get the upper tier version of the NVIDIA Shield. And then, like with the NVIDIA Shield, for instance, it's like what, $180 or $200 or something like that. And it's expensive because it has got bells and whistles. And most of the people who buy it won't use them, So it's like, oh, I want the best. It's like, well, you could have gotten just as good performance out of something that was a third the cost or less. And so I think we all fall victim to paying for more technology than we actually use. And so, sometimes people are like, hey, I'm not going to fall into that trap. I fall into that trap all the time. Don't get me wrong. I'm not bad mouthing this. I fall into the trap all the time. I'm just saying not everybody does. So, let's see. Give me a device with composite output 4x3 so I can use my LCR. There you go. There you go. This is true. Yeah, ABC and Fox still broadcast in 720. We'll see, what happens with the new broadcast standard, if they'll finally up their game. I hope so. But yeah. But actually, this is a pretty good point. It's not that I think it's probably overstating it, Andy, to say there's not much content in 4K. I think there's a lot of content in 4K. But that being said, I think a lot of people do overestimate just how much content is in 4K, especially, like you say, if you watch live TV or broadcast TV, you're probably not watching much 4K. So it's a good point. Excuse me. All right. Interesting. I just got an ad during the live stream. That's new. But that is interesting. I thought that it would serve up an ad at the beginning, but I didn't realize they would interrupt the stream with an ad. That's interesting. You guys, I will say on this note, I did finally, I gave in. I don't know why it took me so long, but I gave in and I said, fine, YouTube, I'll try your 3-month trial of YouTube Premium. So I'm trying the YouTube Premium thing, and I will return and report in due course. But so far, no ads on YouTube. It's pretty great if you use a lot of YouTube. I'm on YouTube a lot, not just on YouTube, but I'm watching YouTube a lot, so it's worth it for me, I think. But we'll see. All right. So yeah, we were kind of talking about this. it's kind of confusing because the 4K supports resolutions all the way down the line. Yeah. But again, you're paying for all of those resolutions, including the 4K, and that's the most expensive one. And so if you don't need it and you can get away with 480, 720, 1080, then great. You get a cheaper device. Okay. Let's see. Oh, okay. Apparently it's not just you. Apparently others are getting commercials as well. So, yeah, I wonder if there's I'll look into if there's a way that that we can limit that. I'm not sure how much control we as a channel have over that. But I'll look at it and see if there's something we could do, because frankly, this channel, we need to survive on something, right? So I don't mind that it serves up a 15-second ad to you before you start watching. That's fine by me, and hopefully that's okay with you as well. But it does seem a little weird to interrupt a live stream with an ad. Maybe it's not, but seems a little different. Okay. Is Apple TV broadcasting baseball Friday nights in 4K or not? That's a great question. I don't actually know the answer to that. I've watched their streams a couple of times and they look fabulous. But even in 1080p, sports looks really good. That's a good question. I'll look into that. That's a good one. Okay. All right. Ooh, this would be a great question for Tashaka over on our streaming, or our mobile channel. I want to show you guys something. Okay, let me show you something. Oh, come on. Okay, I don't know if you knew this. But we have, there it is. Okay, check this out. We have more than one channel now. So, this is a hard left turn. We're going to come back to streaming in just a moment. But this is a great, speaking of ads, this is a great time for me to advertise our other channels. And I want to show you guys what we've got going on. If you go to our channel. Okay, here we go. So let's blow this up a little bit. Can we get rid of that? There we go. All right, so this is us. This channel has been it's been rebranded. It hasn't been renamed. It's been rebranded as Streaming IQ. Okay, so this channel is where we do all of our streaming stuff. But let's see, if you go down a little further, is it going to show it here? No, we'll just flip over to the other one. Okay, we've got one called Mobile IQ. Okay, so it's just starting out. All right, so it's starting small, and would love for you to get subscribed if you if you care about mobile content. I got to tell you, Juan here and Tashaka, they do amazing videos. They do really, really good videos. So make sure you go check that out. Let's see, and there we go. And the other one is security and smart home. So, and that one, again, just starting out, we just kind of split these out so that this channel could focus on streaming. But if you're interested in the other stuff, home security, smart home stuff, whether it's Google, Amazon, whatever, all that smart home stuff, it's all here. The mobile is on the other one. Please go check it out. Again, those two guys do amazing stuff. Steve, he moved on to other projects. He's working on other channels, but we still have some of his videos up, and those are fantastic as well. Anyway, point being, my opinion on 5G on my cell phone is moot, but their opinions would be very, very valuable. So go check those out. All right, how's that for an ad? Okay. Craig, they're not always right. I don't know about that. I guess it depends on the subject. If we should get Juan on here, and Tashaka, and have a right an always write off. Sounds like a tax thing, but no. Anyway, yeah, go check those out. Okay. Oh, interesting. The 15-second ad starts when you start talking, so we always miss the start of the stream. You know what I should do? That would be okay. This would be funny, and then we'll move on to our next news item. Next time I start, I'll consider this, but I don't know if I'll for sure do it. I'll just sit really still and stare at the screen for 15 seconds. And then welcome everybody, just to make it as awkward as possible. So like if somebody comes in and clicks on the on-demand version, after it's all done and it's all uploaded, they'll get 15 seconds of just pure awkwardness. This seems like a really, really good idea. All right, so what's this about Pluto expansion? Asks Nicholas. That's a great question, and you are good to ask. Thank you for keeping me on track and getting me back to this one. Here it is. This may or may not affect you, but I know that we have some viewers who tune in from the Great White North. And here it is, Pluto TV coming to Canada on December 1st. So yeah, it's this again may or may not affect you, but it does kind of affect it. How should I put this? It's a little bit like HBO Max is all over the world. Disney is all over the world. Disney Plus, and they have Hotstar in India and whatnot. So these streaming services, and Netflix is obviously global. It may not directly immediately affect you, but it can have an effect on you down the road. And so that's why news stories like this, even though we are definitely US centric in our reporting at Reviews.org, we're US centric for sure, but we pay attention to stuff like this because it can potentially affect you. So how could it affect you? Well, let's forget Pluto TV for just a second. Let's talk about the other ones. Like if Disney Plus, or no, let's take Netflix, because Netflix gets a lot of flack for its price hikes. Disney Plus is having their own price hike in a couple of months, but they don't take the same kind of fire as Netflix does, because they over the years they've raised their price. Well, if they are able to successfully maintain an international presence, grow that international presence, and all these markets feed each other, they feed the ultimate bottom line of Netflix, that affects how much Netflix is going to cost all around the world, including in the US. So that's one way it matters. Another way, Netflix, they will use other territories to beta test features. We've talked in the past about Netflix in 3 South American countries this year. They've been testing, password sharing or account sharing restrictions, and multiple stream restrictions and that sort of thing. So they use those other places. Anyway, so Pluto TV expanding into the Canadian market is, again, it's not going to affect immediately the way that you watch Pluto TV if you live in the US. But it could have downstream effects as far as, how many ads do we need to run to, maintain our bottom line? Is the Canadian market helping or hurting that bottom line? And is that going to affect, the number of channels they're able to carry, the number of ads they have to run, that sort of thing? Anyway, so let's see. Baba does not care about Pluto in Canada. I'm just kidding. All right, bye, Baba. Let's see. Okay, there you go. Pluto TV is coming to Canada. Everybody's laughing, but this sort of thing really does matter. So there you go. Let's see what else. I do want to talk about this one. Okay. Here we go. Okay, one last news story, and then I'll answer a few of your questions if you've got any. But let's pull up this last one from Adweek. Now, Adweek is where I saw the story, but they're using data from third party. Oh boy, you guys! Wow, what am I? I'm boring myself with my own live stream. That's what's going on apparently. Okay, there we go. Piracy numbers shed light on House of the Dragon and Rings of Power's fantasy face-off. So, essentially, this story just uses it uses piracy numbers to guess at the relative viewership of each title, right? And it is pretty interesting to see just how much piracy is going on. Okay. Let's see. House of the Dragon reached nearly 10 million viewers in the U.S. on August 21st alone. Over the first week, 25 million people tuned into that. Okay, so likewise, Rings of Power reached 25 million viewers globally on its first day. Okay, but that was, with 2 episodes. Not that necessarily matters so much. But, okay, so they gave us those numbers. And we've seen those numbers. Oh, gosh, sorry, you guys. That's super small for you. We've seen those numbers before. Craig needs a nap. Ain't that the truth? Okay. Well, where was I? Yeah, we've seen these numbers before. But what's interesting is, viewership numbers are difficult to come by. They're self-reported. So HBO, they put out some numbers for the first week, but they're not going to do that every single week, right? Because everybody holds those numbers really close to the vest. So the data analytics company, let's see, Muso. So they said, where is the number? Okay. When comparing, here's the juicy bit. When comparing the first 7 days for both House of the Dragon episode 1 and Rings of Power episode 1, House of the Dragon had 45% more piracy than Rings of Power across torrent downloads and unlicensed streaming. Okay, so 45% more piracy for House of the Dragon over Rings of Power. Okay, so that tells us, kind of what we already knew up here about the relative popularity. No, well, those numbers don't quite. I mean, you have to dig into some other numbers, but yeah, that tracks. 45% more piracy. Great. For episode 2 of both shows, House of the Dragon had 127% more piracy. So and this is kind of the upshot. What that indicates is that demand, comparatively speaking, dropped off for Rings of Power. So by week 2, it looked like Rings of Power was kind of running away with the popularity contest after the first week. And here's a cool graph. Let's see if we can we blow. Oh. Let's see. Maybe I can. Yeah, let's do this. See if I can blow it up for you. Here we go. TV titles by piracy share, September 6th through the 12th. So this is a couple weeks ago. But the whole point here, let's see. We got Rick and Morty, She-Hulk, Rings of Power, House of the Dragon. Okay, so what we know from this is basically that House of the Dragon has been immensely popular. Just, it's like everybody who was a huge fan of Game of Thrones, instead of letting that bad taste in their mouth from season 8 like ruin everything, they just went, ooh, new Game of Thrones, and it's not those guys. I wonder if it'll be good, and everybody's watching it, right? And so it's easy to just take those two and say, oh, they're totally beating up on the Rings of Power. But the Rings of Power is intensely popular as well. A lot of people are still watching that. So anyway, so I'm curious what how everybody is liking the shows, and how you're enjoying not pirating the shows. That's what I want to hear about that, because it's a personal bugbear of mine, but I don't like privacy. Every time you complain about if you complain about Netflix raising their prices, you'd better never ever pirate Netflix, because if you do, you're just making the prices go higher. that sort of thing. I won't do my whole rant. Okay, I won't. I'm sure you get it. Let's see. She-Hulk should have been green on the chart, not yellow. Fair enough. Yeah. Anyway, all right. Well, you guys, let me know if you have any other questions that you would like for me to address on this live stream. We've talked about a few different topics. Let me know if you have, if you have other thoughts, feelings on this. Speaking of which, Other is a popular show. Gray, the gray one, Other. Yeah, indeed. Right. But yeah, let me know if you have any other questions. Can a VPN be used on Chromecast with Google TV? Yes. It is Android TV based, which allows for that. I don't think you can use it on Roku. I'm not sure about Apple TV, but I think you can use it everywhere else. So let's see. Why doesn't Vudu work right with Fire TV devices? And did you know Movies Anywhere? It doesn't work at all. I haven't used Vudu on my Fire TV in quite a while, so I didn't know about that. I don't have a good answer for you there. Part of the part of Craig is always right is I don't make stuff up for you guys, so I don't know the answer to that. But that's a good tip for me to look into, see if I can find out what's going on with that. Okay. Let's see. AVR says never had issues with my Vudu on Fire Stick. So there you go. Yeah, maybe it's a device issue with the one you've got. That would stink, but hey, at least it would be solvable. Let's see. Any update on the 2 hot topics? Well, for me anyways. No updates. Believe me, Frayden, when there are updates on that, I will give you the updates. Because I'll be looking at that. Okay. Let's see. I don't pirate the shows right now. I'm liking Rings of Power better than House of the Dragon. House of the Dragon has, I heard one guy put it really well when he said, it feels like it's been taxiing on the runway for whatever it's been, 4 or 5 episodes. It's been taxiing on the runway, and we really need this show to take off. And I agree with that. I've enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed House of the Dragon, but it has all felt like prologue. Taxiing on the runway is a great way to put it. We're just kind of rolling around, waiting for the show to take off. Presumably at some point it will. But hopefully at some point they'll stop doing the time jumps and just let us get into the story, right? But and I'm enjoying Rings of Power. I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan. I know all the lore by heart, all that, I'm one of those people. And I've been absolutely fine with it right up until this last episode. They did something with the lore that I won't spoil, that had me going, oh, I don't know about this, but I'll just leave it there. Is it due to Bluetooth, or does anyone else have issues with audio lag on your YouTube TV? Yeah, it could be a Bluetooth, could be a device issue. Usually when it's audio lag, that's a device issue. So yeah, you may want to Google that one depending on what device setup you have. But that is not fun. It's never fun to watch. Something with audio lag. I think it's unwatchable, even if it's a quarter second or something. It's just unwatchable. Okay. Let's see. Given the current economy today, and to come, well, we don't know what the economy to come is. Nobody does. Could you pick your top 3? I have them all, but if I could have some money or if I could save some money, that would be great. So do you mean top 3 devices? Let me know what you mean by that. My top 3, or top 3 services, like the top 3 streaming services that I can't do without. Maybe I'll just do both. Okay. Top 3 services. Oh gosh. It's a little tough, But off the top of my head, and I reserve the right to change my mind on this within just a moment, but HBO Max, Netflix, Prime Video. I think that's defensible. Okay, yeah. I wanted to slip Apple TV Plus in there somewhere because I love it, but I think Prime Video might nudge it out of the way. There's Disney Plus and Hulu, and those are both good, but they don't crack my top three. And again, this is just my top three, right? So, as far as top three devices, let's see: Roku Streaming Stick Plus, the Fire Stick 4K, and the Chromecast. Yeah, Chromecast 4K for me, because I like the 4K. So there you go. House of the Dragon is boring. Well, depends on how you define boring, I guess. Let's see. Somebody else said the other one was boring. Right? Let's see. So yeah, JC, with something like this, I am not in a great position to do tech support on your devices. It's not something I'm equipped to do or have the time to like really dig into with you. So I would recommend just giving them a call, see if you can get their tech support on it and find out what's going on. Okay. When will the NFL decide the Sunday ticket drama, and who are they going to go with for streaming? Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know when they're going to do it. Will they do it in the middle of this season? Will they wait until, are they going to wait for 2 or 3 months to announce something, around the playoffs or the Super Bowl when NFL fever is at its highest pitch? Not sure. The lag today on YouTube is Craig needing a nap. That's true. I won't get a nap, but I'll get a break in a few minutes here, and then I'll start live streaming again on my other channel. So, let's see. Roku Express is awesome. That's not something you hear a lot. I don't hear a lot of complaints about the Roku Express, and that's great for them. But I don't often hear somebody say Roku Express is awesome. Go Roku Express, absolutely. That's funny. Okay. And now I'm wondering if somebody. Oh no, that was for this comment. I was like, oh, did I miss something? Let's see. Oh, that's right. Michael said Rings of Power is kind of boring, except for the Hobbits. I could watch an entire series of just the Hobbits from the Rings of Power. They're Harfoots, okay? Get it right, Michael. They're Harfoots. There were Harfoots and Stores, and the Fallowhides. Yeah, the Harfoots, the Stores, and the Fallowhides. Those were all the progenitors of the Hobbits. Well, I should say they were the precursors to the Hobbits, but the Harfoots were the ones who migrated to the Shire and became Hobbits. But they're Harfoots right now. It's look, I told you, I'm super nerdy about this stuff. So Frodo, here we go. Frodo is a descendant of the Harfoots that we're watching on Rings of Power. Smeagol, however, was a Stoor, Stoor, and they lived on the banks of the River Anduin. So while Harfoots, eventually Hobbits, were never great lovers of water, especially deep water, the Stoors had no problem with it. They fished and swam and boated all the time. So there you go. All right. You had audio issues. Okay, so a lot of people are saying Thursday Night Football on Prime Video has been giving them picture issues. Last night you had audio issues. Not sure what's up. Me neither. I did not watch that last night. I have watched, like I said, I've been watching Apple TV's Friday night baseball coverage, and they've been lights out. So good with their baseball coverage. But I haven't been. I watched Thursday Night Football on Amazon once, but that was last season, and so I haven't watched it this season. I'll have to check that out. That could be interesting. Let's see, top three services. Jared, I'm going with Jared on this one. I hope I'm saying that right. Would be Netflix, Paramount Plus, and Prime Video. Absolutely defensible. There you go. Good choices. Let's see. Are the people that create, this is from R. Overton, are the people that create streaming services going to give us more streaming options, or are they going to give us less streaming options due to merging, making things more expensive? Yeah, it's kind of the natural order of things. There will be some mergers and whatnot. It's so yeah, probably eventually in the future, we'll have fewer streaming options that will be a bit more expensive. I mean, that happened with cable and satellite. Eventually, companies and companies merged, channels got more expensive. The whole thing. It's a cycle, right? We're going to go through the cycle of streaming, and it'll take years. We're not talking about next year. It's going to balloon into insane costs or something. But over the course of a decade, 2 decades, whatever, streaming will go through this cycle as well, the same as cable did. And then another technology will come along, something we can't predict right now. Something else will come along, and it'll be the new cord cutting, whatever. So yeah, I think fewer streaming options and more expensive is pretty natural. I'd be shocked if it didn't go that way. So yeah, that's my guess. But like I said earlier about the economy, nobody can see into the future, even though I do pretty well. All right, let's see. Frayden says top 3 for me would be Paramount Plus. Old Nick Kid nerd. Yeah, nice. Apple TV Plus. Yeah, I'm telling you, man. Apple TV Plus is so good, and Disney Plus. Big kid at heart. Yeah, absolutely. All right, you guys. I am gonna start the process of wrapping this up. I'm gonna have a little break, and then I'll go do another live stream, a much nerdier, dorkier live stream over on the Legendarium. So if you're interested in chatting about fantasy and sci-fi books, you can go check it out there. But for today, let's call it there. And I appreciate everybody participating. Next week I will be here. And then the week after that, I won't. I'll be in Denver attending the Great American Beer Festival, and I will not be able to live stream. So in 2 weeks I'll be out, but I will be here next week. And I hope to see you all here again. Let me know in the comments, in the chat, on Twitter. Go to Twitter. Let me know if there are any topics you would like or activities that you would like to do on these live streams. Sometimes we do the straw polls and we do the brackets. I think those are fun sometimes, right? So anything like that, stuff that you'd like to see on these live streams, I'd love to hear about it. So check me out on Twitter. I don't do much, but I will talk to you in the DMs when I pop in. So enjoy your weekend, and enjoy watching House of the Dragon and Rings of Power and all that stuff, and not pirating it. I'm not actually watching you, but I kind of look like I'm watching you right now. So